a straight A student, top shelf. His grades plummeted to nothing. It was horrendous what this was doing to this boy. At the peak of this stuff, his skin would start bleeding. It would change color. His facial expressions would change. His voice was totally not that of a kid. He talked in strange languages. It was absolutely unbelievable. In the process, he destroyed single-handedly 3 classrooms of the school that he attended. It took 7 police officers to hold a 13-year-old boy down. They sent him to a psychiatric ward. He literally picked up the nurse over and threw her down the hall physically. Okay?
That is amazing power.
It is absolutely amazing what we were dealing with here. I did not see any of that. I saw none of it.
By the way, Michael, Prism, where do you buy it? Where do you get Prism?
Oh, no. No, you can't buy this chrism. This chrism, Father Alphonsus actually showed me what to do, but I still have some of his original chrism. It is what he used. He was an exorcist for the church for 45 years. He was a religious educator at St. Bonaventure. He taught all the major religions of the world over his lifetime. Excuse me. And he gave me the bottle that he carried it in for his whole 45 years. He gave me the bag that it goes in. He gave me the Mayan ceremonial bowl that he got from a Jesuit down in Mexico. I use those when I have to deal with real bad stuff. And this was the worst that I could ever imagine. The chrism, I can tell you what it's comprised of, and the difference is the quantities involved. But it's made of frankincense oil, myrrh, sandalwood, dragon's blood, which is now getting very difficult to find. And I always put in, I always put in a drop or 2 of holy water.
All right.
That's the chrism.
All right, Michael, Lorraine would like to know,
yeah,
in your opinion, is there ways to deal with the haunting other than through religion?
Yes, actually, this case, I did not really use religion. I know it sounds like I did, but I didn't really. If you go back into the history of mankind, particularly the Egyptians or any of them, they used holy oils for all sorts of things. It is not, they considered it holy oils, or they didn't even consider it holy oils. They considered it oil. But in this case, the only thing that I used as far as religion went was saying a prayer to Michael the Archangel. That was it. Because the rest of it was about getting rid of the reality of something that we had no comprehension of. So we were dealing with something that was, if anybody were to hear the story and not be involved in it, would find it so out there that it was just beyond your imagination. So I used that way of doing the work. The holy water eventually went on all the corners of the whole house. The stones were then planted on the outer limits of the property all the way around, 4 of them. And the individual, the boy, is now back in school, even though the school obviously kicked him out. He's been through all of the doctors. He's been through all of the work. He doesn't remember any of the frantic stuff. He puzzled the state doctors from New York City. The man, I call him a man because I think he had to be able to deal with all this stuff. Just phenomenal. He's back in school. He's back A+ again. He's an honor roll student. He's going to be the top of his class. The kid is back to where he was before all of this started to happen. And I didn't tell you the two deaths that happened that weren't family. One was the major contractor of the house that was being built. He was actually supposed to be married, I believe, and he was 2 days away from being married, and he ended up hanging himself.
Oh, boy.
We have no idea. Another hanging. The only one that did not die of a hanging, the electrician. The electrician who was working on the electricity in the house, on his way home, he actually left the house an hour early, and he had a head-on collision and got killed in an auto accident. All of us and the 5 members. There was a 14-year-old girl. There was a niece involved in this. She went to the house for the first time. She left the house, went back home, went up in her room, was on the computer, walked out, and threw herself around her neck over the railing. Dead. The boy's father hung himself in the prison. Figure that out. How do you do that? It was just beyond. It's beyond. Anyway, go ahead.
The energy has to be so incredibly powerful and seeping everywhere that it affects.
Yeah, you really have to. You really have to protect yourself. Otherwise, this thing was going to attach to anyone, and it did. After, believe me, it attached to the mother. Her life became totally miserable. She was within hours of killing herself when Cassidy and I went back. And we were with her all night. And I did some work with her, and I told her that her old job in the school would be coming back to her. She said, that isn't going to ever happen. I says, it will come back to you. You will have that. I said, it's going to happen soon. Your life will turn around. You have to believe that your life will turn around. Within 5 days, I had a call. The old school called her back. She had her job back. She had her health back. She had her kids back. She had everything back that she had before the whole incident happened. And that was just a mother. We're not even dealing with all the other stuff. The book is incredible. So if you get an opportunity, go to the main page of Inception Radio, and you look on there. There's a posting of the book, and you can get it through Amazon. And it is one of the most. It will definitely keep your attention. And everything that you read in it, believe me, everything you read in it is not a story, is the reality of what it is, with the permission of the family. The book was written.
Right, and it has been happening right here and right now, not in the 1800s or whatever, but...
That's right, right now.
And you know, Michael, hauntings and possessions and so forth have been happening throughout written history.
Yes.
And before then. And it's just recently that we have attached such focus to it. Would you say?
You know, that's one of the things that you look at. I'm not too sure. You know, there's a great show, Ancient Aliens, is on.
Yes.
There's some great stuff on there that you could actually go with possession. You could go with a lot of different things to where these people had no other way to understand. But if you would have seen this boy in his worst shape, you could not have imagined. You could not have imagined a voice could come out of an individual of 12, 13 years old like this. You cannot imagine just seeing blood start pouring out of his arms. Clear 1 second and blood the next.
Right.
His eyes. He He could stare through your soul. I guarantee you. It was tough. It was hard for me to say yes, but I couldn't say no. I had to. This is what my work is. This, ladies and gentlemen, you hear us on Project White Paper, but this is my work. I do this for those that have no idea why it's happening to them. That's it. It's not about me. It's never about Michael. It's never about me. It's always about the people that are afflicted.
But
Always.
how do you stay centered and focused so it doesn't affect you?
I concentrate on what I need to do. I'm not distracted, because distraction is the key thing. That's one thing I learned from Father Alphonsus, because there was a case, it was called the Hinsdale House, and he did an exorcism there in 1973 with Alex Tannis, who was a psychic out in New York City. He was never really able to complete the exorcism. I completed it years later, and he told me this. When I posed the question to him, I said, "Father, why did it not work?" He said, "Michael, with everything that was going on in that house, the lights were flashing, the noises, everything was creaking, and you could literally hear through the windows the house scream. It took my energy away." He could not concentrate on what he needed to do. There is a show out there. It's in the Haunting series, Haunting. It's been playing again lately, and it's called Dark Forest is the name of it. And that is the story of that Hinsdale house. You can actually pick that up and watch it. It is an amazing job, even though there are actors doing it. I worked a little bit on the production of it, so I got my names in the credits. But it's 95% accurate. And what you're going to see is all of that. It is absolutely phenomenal, and the people that you see in there are the true people. The mother that wrote a book on it, the one son who survived, the one daughter committed suicide. She could not handle what happened to her as a young person growing up in the house. But you have to be totally focused on what you're doing. That's why when I walked into that house, I knew exactly what I had to do, and nothing was going to take me away from what. When I walked into that kid's room, that would have been enough to turn a lot of people saying, "Okay, this is too big for me. I'm not walking into this."
Right.
It had to be done. It had to be done, and I knew, just the way you deal with things. I knew what I had to do, and the holy water was out. The chrism had to be used in that room, and that was the first time I ever used it on the walls in the house or structure anyway.
Michael,
Yeah.
and Andy, the UK chap, wants to know,
Sure.
letters scratched into the skin while asleep. Is that demonic?
It all depends on what the letters say, more so what they mean. Now, whoever had this carved onto their skin, the boy had similar markings on his arm at times. They didn't mean anything to the people that were looking at them. I have not seen them. It was before I got into the case. You have to remember, I got into the case at the very end. I eliminated it. But what you really have to do is you have to write those down on a piece of paper or someplace in the exact order that they found them on the arm. And then what you need to do is to find out what they truly mean. There is the crux of the whole thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be demonic. It may be a spirit or an energy form that might be in the family. It might be something very critical that individual needs to know, and the only way to really get their attention was to do what was done. It doesn't mean that it's demonic. It does not mean that it's demonic. So you really have to check up on it and find out.
Good. This is so amazing. Are you working on any awesome cases right now?
Awesome cases? Yes, I'm working on I'm working on an awesome case. We had a long discussion about it today. And the people that have listened to White Paper know that Chase and I are right up to our eyeballs in this case. Um, and for everybody that's listened, it's Area 516, and more things have developed since we have talked about it. I can pass along to those that are interested. The screeching noises that were there for several years. There hadn't been any in the past year. All of a sudden, there were at least 3 people just off the top of the hill at 516 that literally heard the screeching for at least 10 minutes. Now, that screeching noise we have unofficially at this point connected with Mothman. The red eyes in the woods, we do know that Bigfoot does have red eyes also. We do know that there have been sounds of flapping things at night. There's a lot to go with, but this is brand new information that just came to me this week. I am going down there on the 8th of September. I am going to be interviewing a whole bunch of new people that don't even know each other. And so we're really going to get down to brass tacks on 516. But this is a doorway. This is a connection. It's on a ley line that goes all the way to California. It goes all the way down to where you're at, down in Houston area. It is absolutely unbelievable. It is going to be one of the most incredible breakthrough stories when we actually get the people like you in it. The archaeologists, the paleontologists, the stuff that we have, physical evidence, is just amazing. How do you get a bone that is encased in stone? Somebody tell me that. How does a bone get encased in stone? I don't know how that happens.
Very
I don't know how that happens. Very carefully? That's a good one. But we don't have an answer to that question. But we're going to have it tested. The last time we were there, Chase was there. Here's globs of long, crusty hair. Grayish, black, crusty hair. Definitely not human. Not horse hair. On top of that, there were no real horses anywhere near there. And this stuff was found in globs on the property at the top of the mountain. Now, we get that tested, and that comes back non-specific. I'll take non-specific, because that means it's not human and it's not animal. So what is it? Here we go. We've got hard evidence. We've got this material in our hands. Chase is chomping at the bit. And so, that's what we're working on now.
Well, will you please come back and tell us about it after your investigations next month?
Well, I've been working on it 2.5 years, so I'm not sure we'll be able to tell you next month, but we'll keep you advised on how it all goes.
One more question from Chris.
Oh, sure.
What is Area 516?
Area 516 is the top of a mountain. It is a burial ground that was, it actually isn't a burial ground. It was a village, an Indian village. Carnegie Mellon Institute in Pittsburgh did an archaeological dig in the 70s. They found 163 skeletons, 6 inches under the ground, in their longhouses where they lived. They did carbon dating on the bones. It came back to 900 AD, give or take 25 years. That village is on what we call the Ishaway Trail, which goes all the way, here, are you ready for this, people? Goes from the house that we have been talking about with the boy, believe it or not, 4 Mile Creek in Niagara County, all the way down to the top of the mountain in Pennsylvania. That is an amazing connection. On top of cases that Cassidy and I have found that are right along the trail all the way down. It follows the Ishaway Trail. It follows the Indian Trail. It goes all the way down. But the trouble is, there's a portal down there. And now we're even wondering, because of the material that we're finding, whether the mountain was created by a UFO impact. Would that be
Oh.
amazing? Would that be amazing that we find that bone that's encased in stone to be something other than? And what about the material that we find encased in the rocks? That is an aluminum type material going back 1,000 years, 2,000 years? We do know that an impact wiped out those Indians in 900 AD on the top of that ridge. Now, was that caused by the crash of the UFO? Or was it a meteorite? Or was it something else that wiped them all out at the same time? Those are the questions that we're dealing with. But we've got a doorway shooting in and out of it. We have all of the sightings of the physical stuff moving always towards the door or away from the doorway. It's at the base of the mountain.
Do you have another investigation being planned soon?
Actually, down in your neck of the woods. There's a place down there that E.P.I.C is involved in, and we have a place near Dickinson, Texas, and that's not far from Johnson Space Center. It's halfway between Galveston and Houston, and there are some EVPs that E.P.I.C has that were taken by some people there. It's property that has been developed into a housing project. Things are going absolutely crazy. The electronics go on and off at their own will. Lights, audio stuff, noises. People are going nuts in the whole neighborhood. I haven't heard the EVPs yet, but what I am told by Ken is the EVP was stated for those people to get out. Somebody asked, why should we get out? And the answer came back, because the land is cursed. And somebody said, well, how long has it been cursed? And the answer came back, forever. So we're dealing with something quite incredible. But again, here we go. You draw a triangle between 516. You draw a triangle between a place that is exactly like 516 in Redding, California. Take the difference. Draw a triangle, connect the dots, and it connects up with what? Really close to down there. Really close to the Johnson Space Center. Really close to all of these places, and very close to this field that has been developed into a housing project that has crazy stuff going on. So we can keep you filled in on how that's going to go. But that's the upcoming major project at this point.
Excellent. One more thing, Chris wanted to know also if there were Iroquois Indians involved in the Area 516. Do we know
yes,
Go ahead.
Yes is the answer to that question, and it was believed by the archaeologists. They were believed to be an Irondequoit tribe. They were an offshoot of the Irondequoits, but yes, it was an Iroquois confederation thing. The Iroquois from up north in New York, those were predominantly the Senecas. They did travel down that same trail, all the way down, the same trail that goes all the way to Lake Ontario, the same trail, all of this stuff. They moved back and forth along that line. And yes, Iroquois, that was very observant from you, and yes, it was an Iroquois tribe.
That is amazing. Thank you so much, Michael.
It's been a pleasure. We could talk forever, you know?
Yes, we could. Maybe we should.
At some point, we probably should. Oh, gee.
But
and
I would
is doing a good job, too.
Yes, very silently in the background.
Yeah, she's doing a good job. Great job, Chase.
I'd like to remind everybody...
Oh, hold it. Chris is of Seneca descent. Hold it. Hold that show. Holy cow, Chris. Amazing. Are you from Western New York? Just see if he hooks into that. And Chase is right. She's answering them the best that she can. She's doing great. But always of Seneca descent. Well, the Senecas were the ones that went down that way, and they were the law enforcement tribe of the Iroquois Confederation. In actuality, there is no such thing as an Iroquois Indian. The Iroquois is the confederation which comprises of the 7 nations, comprise the Iroquois Confederation or the Iroquois Nation. So they're comprised of 7 separate tribes to form the Iroquois Confederation. That's how that goes, and a lot of people just aren't aware of that.
Well, I did not know that. That is amazing and awesome that Chris hooked
knew
up
it.
with us.
Yeah, there you go. Chris knew that. He says I knew that. That's great. I'm glad. I'm glad that he knows his heritage, because that's where I got a lot of the information from, was the shaman of the Senecas. And without him trusting in me, I would have never known a lot of the things that I know now. And unfortunately, Father Al passed away, and my shaman passed away, and the lady that filled in the story of Wright Patterson in Toronto, she passed away, and they all died on the same day. So all of my mentors left me at the same time.
Yeah,
So
they all
I
abandoning ship.
I have to understand that they gave me all the information I needed to do the work, and I know a few things that Father talked about, and just absolutely incredible. And I find myself there, and I asked that question to him many times. I said, "Why me? Why me? I'm just me. Why is it me?" And he says, "Why was it for me?" He said, "Michael," he said, "it is a curse." At the time, I didn't think it was, but he says, "It's a curse, Michael, because you will never be able to let it go. You will never be able to drop it. You will never be able to quit. It is beyond your control." I said, "But what about free will?" He goes, "In this case, the free will is your spirit and your soul, and it will never let it go." And so I get choked up a little bit by some of the sayings that Father had. The simple one, which I would go with 516 or any of those other places, even the cursed land down in Texas. He said, "The land is a living thing. It has been here long before us. It will be here long after us, and it remembers everything that happened on it."
Absolutely.
Give the land the respect that it's due.
Yes.
And so some amazing stuff, and when I write a book, those things are going to go in the book, and just absolutely amazing. So, we could talk about a zillion things, and it's just great. But, we should do this again.
Well, all right. I'm on. I got my ears on.
Yeah. Chase and I are going to have to get into a back and forth on our own show, I think. And we'll have to get you on there as a guest. We'll have to do that, because you have some incredible information for people, and it's things that they need to know. And I'm just been privileged to be on the air with you tonight. I'm really privileged to do that.
Well, thank you, Michael. Actually, it is mine. I have stood here. I'm too excited to sit, and my palms are sweaty. It has nothing to do with the heat in Texas.
Oh, I see.
But
Chase would say, "Hey, I'm getting a little rowdy." I guess I was a little rowdy probably the whole show, but anyway.
You were born that way.
I think so. I don't know. It's just that I know what's true, and I know, I hate the word story, particularly when I'm dealing with some of these things, because I know they're not stories. They're the reality of what happened to real people. It is not somebody's dreamed up whatever. This literally happens to people. And that's why it's not a story. So.
Excellent. And I would like to close by reminding people to tune in next week on E.P.I.C Voyages. Washington State Director James Clarkson is going to be interviewing E.P.I.C Senior Investigator Steve Reichmuth. That ought to be something awesome and very, very enlightening. And on that note, as we say in Finland, hey, hey, which is a friendly goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. And good night, everybody.
Thank you for being with us tonight. Please join us again next Monday evening for Extraordinary Phenomena Investigations Council's E.P.I.C. Voyages. I'm Roger Peacock for E.P.I.C. Until next time.